February 17th meeting of the DRB to order. And we will start with Meredith reviewing the remote meeting procedures.
Okay. Share my screen. Here we go. All right. So, for anyone viewing tonight's Development Review Board meeting via Orca Media, you can participate in the discussion via the Zoom platform through either video or telephone access options. If you want the full video experience, please type this link into your web browser. I know it's really long, sorry about that. Or you can call into the meeting on any telephone using the phone number shown here. And when prompted, put in this meeting ID and this passcode. If you have problems accessing the meeting, please email me at mcrandall@montpelier-bt.org. I will be monitoring my email throughout the meeting. For those attending via Zoom, turning your video on is optional. For everyone attending, please keep your microphone on mute when you're not speaking. This helps reduce background noise. And if you do wish to speak, please raise your hand and wait for the chair to call on you. You can either raise your hand physically if your camera is on, or you can use the raise hand button on your Zoom toolbar. Note that the Zoom chat function should only be used for troubleshooting or logistics questions. Questions or comments about items on the agenda should be made verbally during the discussion on those items. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, it will need to be continued to a time and place certain. I will now hand the meeting back over to the chair.
Thank you, Meredith.
Hold on one second. Let Alex get hers muted. Mute and then turn your speakers off.
Okay.
We good? We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. We need an approved agenda here.
So moved.
Again.
All those in favor for approval of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
Thank you. And we will start by introducing the board members here. Start on the end with Joe.
Joe Kiernan, board member.
Elvira Dana, board member.
Alex Halas, board member.
I'm Rob Goodwin, the chair.
Meredith Crandall, staff.
And Bill, do we have you online?
You sure do. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I am Bill Jolly. I am an alternate member who is going to be a non-voting participant tonight.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Yep, Catherine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Catherine.
Sorry.
Hi there, Catherine Burgess, remote tonight, and I'm vice chair.
Wonderful. So we have 5 voting members this evening. That is a quorum, and I guess not too many comments this evening. We got 2 applications, and also we've got some draft changes to the rules. We don't have to approve those tonight, but we did want to get those in front of the full board. That is in response to our training that we had, and we really want to have time for us to dig into those and get that process moving forward, as there were some changes that do need to happen. And that's all. So I think we'll start with the Zero View Road application. And who online is going to be speaking on this application?
I'm here, John Petrosky, the design engineer from Bowman.
Okay. Just you speaking on this application. Okay, we will swear you in.
I'm sorry, Lee, I can't remember. Lee Lauber, are you a neighbor for the Perkins Road or the Veo Road application?
A neighbor for Veo Road.
Okay, do you think you might want to talk?
I'm not expecting to, no.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all those interested in providing testimony in this application, would you please raise your right hand to be sworn in as a witness? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, John. Okay, it should be, brief, but Meredith can give a brief summary of the procedural history of where we're at on this application.
So, this is a 2-parcel subdivision. Most of those under our current rules are now administrative, but this one involves a protected natural resources area. So it needs to come before the Development Review Board. And then the other fun wrinkle in this one is that this actually got approved back in July of 2025, but the final plat recording deadline got missed. And that's actually the thing for both of the applications coming before you tonight. So I've stepped away from the way I normally package these up. I didn't do a whole nother full staff report. What I did is I included the board's written decision from the July approvals, and then included a short memo that just highlights either some additional information that got submitted this go around, or where the regulations had changed since the review back in July of 2025. But those tweaks were really more about the procedures and didn't really, in my mind, make a big difference in the conditions that the board had approved before. I would have suggested those same conditions this time and suggested the same outcome. Yeah, this is John. I've got the package available to screen share if when you're ready to talk about any points, or when any board members have any questions, or if anybody from the public has any questions or comments, I can screen share any of those items, because
Okay.
the board will need to basically make the same findings. It's considered a fresh application. It's not an amendment, to just make sure that they find that it still meets all the subdivision standards.
Well, first, I'd like to apologize for not filing the plat. Office made it, and it disappeared after that. And it's only the second time in my 40+ year career this has happened, but my apologies for putting Meredith through this. I think the board and Meredith did a very comprehensive job the first time around, and we're not proposing to do anything different. Everything we presented before is still true. The owner, Corey Shea, is in no rush to build the homes. He was going to build it for him and his wife, and they've since held off on that for various reasons. But so we're not anxious or rushing to go to construction, but nothing has changed. The design package is exactly the same, and everything that we presented and represented in that comprehensive design review process is the same. And again, our apologies for putting you through this a second time.
So just a couple of questions, John. Any changes environmentally, structurally, development-wise at the site, since our approval?
None whatsoever. No, they literally have not done anything since you approved it. And there's been no environmental impacts with like a washout or a heavy rain event, or nothing has happened. It's the same exact site and same exact project, and we have not started anything.
And no changes in ownership or new easements or anything of that matter?
That's correct. No change.
So, board members here, kind of a interesting situation. You have any suggestions on how we approach the scope of our review here?
There's one thing about requesting that a easement condition from our original decision be reconsidered. So, if the easiest way to solve this would be just to affirm our decision, we cannot do that. Because we have to take up this question of ease.
Let's talk about the easement condition. Alex, do you want to ask any questions about that or summarize what it says in the staff report?
Well, it was the email from Simon which I don't know if I have up. Do you have that, Meredith?
Yeah.
That explains why they want that removed.
Yeah, I responded to Simon and haven't heard back, so give me 1 second to find the, trying to remember if
Wait.
here it is. Hold on.
Actually, hold on. Maybe John, we can throw this to you first. If you've got, any background on the easement issue, we'll kind of let you talk, and then we can take it up on our end if you'd like. Give you the opportunity.
I don't have any insight on that, and I'm trying to remember who Simon is.
Bruce Simon. It's Bruce Simon. Simon is the last name.
Bryce.
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 So,
Bryce.
I pulled it up on the screen. And the thing is that he was asking about, where was it? The road easement. I think he was maybe a little bit confused because he was talking about, declaration of covenants or road association. And that wasn't the condition on the actual approval. The approval was about making sure that the, had an easement detailing written maintenance and repair responsibilities for the septic system. And then it did say any shared wells. There aren't any proposed, but just in case any were shared, shall be recorded in the land records and presented to the zoning administrator prior to recording of the final plat. So that had to do with the fact that there's a plan for a shared septic design here. And so
And we have no issue with that. I think Bryce might have misunderstood, or maybe he assumed you implied both, but
Yeah.
clearly you didn't. And so this request is not necessary.
yeah, so I had to include it because I never heard anything back saying, no, this isn't what we wanted. But his language is all about something that was never in the approval anyway.
It's about septic in the wells are, as I recall, we're not sharing water, right?
Okay,
So it's
yep,
just
we
really
could take that out.
Take the wells out. Yeah.
just really about the shared sewer system.
Shared septic system.
Yeah.
Since I'm new to the board, I was also trying to understand what the previous decision had been. And I was also confused by a reference to an easement related to the roads and also the shared water and wastewater systems.
So where's,
No, the request from Bryce.
oh, yeah,
Simon.
yeah, so there
But
was no
thank you,
easement
you've
about roads.
disambiguated that, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep, there's none of that. And on the plan, it shows one shared septic
Right.
system. And
Right.
so because the septic system will be on one of the parcels, but it's serving both, the owner who doesn't have the septic system on their property needs to have some rights to be able to access it for maintenance so that one person doesn't end up controlling it and limiting access for the other.
And is VO Road a class 4 road?
Yes.
Yes, it is. That's why.
And that's in the decision, so the understanding that the town does not maintain anything but the passability of that road in
Well, I think that's the issue that's raised by the recently the July 7th, 2025 letter clarifying the intention of the city around road maintenance for the first 150 feet.
Yeah, so that was a resubmittal where they had submitted that before. And
It's been refreshed in the record.
yep, and so in the decision, it goes to the section, I think it was section 3010. There were findings about that. Oh, no, that was about the driveway locations. There was a finding in here about quarries. I think it's the developability or suitability of land. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, section 3504. Applicant has conferred with the Department of Public Works. So this is page 7 of the prior decision. It's on section 16D, little Roman numeral 5. Applicant has conferred with the Department of Public Works regarding the current conditions of Veo Road and will need to coordinate with DPW on any improvements necessary for future development because the city doesn't make those improvements, but the applicant can only make them if approved by the Department of Public Works. However, as noted, the anticipated future development doesn't appear to require upgrades to Veo Road beyond what may be needed to bring in necessary equipment. And so there's also, in that original application, and it's in this packet, was correspondence with Corey Line, from the Department of Public Works, attesting to that, that with just this limited amount of development, the road was fine as is. There might need to be some upgrades to make sure that equipment coming in doesn't crush culverts, those types of things, and they'll have to put in some new culverts for driveways, but otherwise the road itself is going to stay in its same condition moving forward. I think there was maybe a little bit of ditching or something that might need to happen, but that's all going to be coordinated with the Department of Public Works.
Okay,
It would be, and we would just clean out the ditches and after the impact of the two homes being constructed, we'd probably resurface the gravel because it'll get beat up a little bit. But yes, there's no improvements proposed. And backing up, I wanted to comment on the septic system because it was quite a lengthy discussion in the original permitting process. Why are we doing a community system? And my explanation was that all of lot 3 is wooded and it's steep slopes and the soils are a bit more marginal. Where we show that in-ground conventional system, we hit a deep, deep sand deposit, very isolated sand deposit, but it's all right there. It had great capacity for normal in-ground septic and it didn't involve tearing down a whole bunch of trees. So it was less intrusive to share septic than to build potentially a big mound system for lot 3. So that's why we did it that way.
So I guess we have in here that the septic easement will be recorded with the final plat. Is that ready to go?
It is ready to go. I don't think we've dropped it off yet, but we have it all ready to be delivered.
Okay. Was that the only maybe issue with our previous findings? Board members?
and we've determined that the easement issue that was brought up in the second reapplication was moot. So we can simply affirm our,
I think you have to do a new motion. Would we just take out the and any shared wells in that sub I? So if we look at the prior decision, you can do motion to approve the 2 partial subdivision, and that's basically the motion. And in that condition sub I, remove in the second line and any shared wells to get that out of there, because that adds a little bit of a confusion because there aren't any shared wells.
Right.
And then everything else I think is the same. I mean, like I said, there's no changes.
Yeah.
I didn't make it go through the Conservation Commission again because there were no changes, so their comments still apply.
Well,
does it get a new number?
They will get new numbers. I try not to get those, deal with the E911 board and get those going until I have the permits approved for the actual builds, because where the driveways go will determine the E911 numbers.
So what would a motion look like? I mean, usually you cue a motion.
Yep, so it's the decision. So motion to through there. Through step 3. Yep, it's all. Motion to and then approve, and then you just read through sub 3. It's long, sorry. There's three conditions.
Okay, I move that we approve a 2 parcel subdivision of 0 Veo Road as presented in application number Z 2026.
Yeah, actually I didn't write in the new application number. Good catch.
0004 and supporting and supplemental materials subject to the following conditions of approval. 1, an easement detailing written maintenance and repair responsibilities for the septic system shall be recorded in the land records and presented to the zoning administrator prior to recording of the final plat. 2, within 180 days of this decision, applicant shall record the final survey plat in Montpelier Land Records Office per the procedures detailed in 4405 of the zoning regulations, including necessary easements for shared water and wastewater systems and the locations of all applicable survey rods and markers. 3, the future as-built septic design shall be filed with the zoning administrator when completed.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion by Alex, a second by Joe. Is there any discussion from the board on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote. Joe, how do you vote?
Yes.
Elvira is yes.
Alex is yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
And Rob, the chair, votes yes. That is 5, and Bill has indicated he's not voting this evening.
Meredith, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
We intended to leave the word shared in for the well part of it.
I think we took the well out altogether.
Oh, he just.
She
read it.
didn't, yeah, Alex didn't say the wells at all.
It was still included in the include necessary easements for shared water and wastewater systems as far as what's shown on the plat. Well,
Yeah, it doesn't mean that is a shared water system.
I understand now. Yep, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. So we're gonna have to go through the whole decision and issue a permit process again, but you can deliver since they're not changing. If you've already got the easement done and you have the final plat already, feel free to deliver those to me. And
By me.
then as soon as, if I already have them, then when Rob comes in to sign the decision, he can sign the plat at the same time.
yeah, and John, just make sure I don't see it on the copy I have, but there's a title block for the signature of the board chair.
Okay, I'll make sure we have that.
It does make it easier.
Yep, will do.
Awesome.
Have a good night, you guys.
You too. Thank you. Can I have the motion bit back?
You got it.
Thank you.
Righty, thank you. Who do we have here for the next item, which is 230 Perkins Road?
Hi, everyone. Nicholas Lowe here.
Meredith, would you like to give a little summary here as to the?
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So, like John was saying before, where he's like, "Oh, I've only had 2 of these mix-ups in his however many years." Amazingly, these are the only board-approved subdivisions where we've missed the plat recording date. So we've been made aware that we need to up our catches on that too and have some automated reach outs to applicants. We hadn't needed it previously. But I think we've seen a lot more subdivisions that are small subdivisions and where it's maybe owner led or people who haven't done these before. And so making sure that we've got basically a automated tickler to remind people when, we've gotten halfway through their 6 months, so that at least they don't miss the opportunity to get an extension, because there is an opportunity for a 90-day extension to getting that plat recorded. And just work on our systems. But so we have our second of the 2 parcel subdivisions where it's the same thing that was approved back in July. These were both the same meeting. And the recording date got missed. So very similar. We don't have any new anything on this one. So there's no new public comments or resubmission of public comments. no new requests from the team. It's 2 parcel subdivision with a little bit of natural resources area, so I had to come back to you. And I'm recommending same approval, same conditions.
Nick, are you the only one speaking on this application tonight?
Yeah, just me. Yeah.
Yes, Nick. Anyone else on? All I see is DRB staff. Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty. All those interested in providing testimony in this application, would you please raise your right hand to be sworn in as a witness? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, Nick, we'll give you the floor here to add any information that you may have, and then the board will proceed.
Thanks, Rob. And apologies too we just dropped the ball, honestly. And it's funny to me that it's the same other application that's here tonight that was here last time. I kind of did a double take. Rob, getting to the similar questions that you had for the prior application, there haven't been any changes to the site. It's exactly the same as it was the last time around. No changes to ownership, no new easements. So, same conditions, same application, we're just a little over 6 months past where we were last time.
I find that hard to believe it was 6 months. It seems like you were just here. And then the monumentation, has that been set to your knowledge?
It has, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have the Mylar printed and ready to file.
Okay. And just trying to get my copy up here. Does that have the appropriate title block here for a DRB signature?
I don't have it in front of me. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, we didn't get an updated one. The one that we have in the packet is the exact same one we got before that had preliminary. So it doesn't have that signature block on it. So, but if you already have the Mylar printed, it's not absolutely essential that block be put on there. I can write in a space for Rob to sign somewhere off on the side. Because there doesn't look to be a bunch of room, and we don't have one of those stamps anymore. We used to have a stamp pre-flood that we could stamp these, and then that would set up the block to call out the signature. But that one of the many things that got lost in the flood and has not been replaced. Don't look at me, Alex.
It could not be a big ticket item.
Actually, I have a better idea. We can address that later. I think we can create a digital one that just everyone can download from the website and insert right under their plans.
That would be lovely. We could even put that on our permitting website that Nick Gauthier keeps updating, upgrading. We would even put that on our applications page. Subset for subdivision.
We'll get on it.
Oh, very great, Rob. Thank you. Sorry for the sidebar, Nick.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. So yeah, I don't have any issues. Board members see anything that nothing less changed since the last one here. Yeah.
Entertain a motion.
Absolutely.
All right. I move hereby that the board approve the 2-parcel subdivision of 230 Perkins Road as presented in application Z 2026-0005 and supporting and supplemental materials subject to the following condition of approval. 1, within 180 days of this decision, applicant shall record the final survey plat in the Montpelier Land Records Office per the procedures detailed in section 4405 of the zoning regulations, including the locations of all applicable survey rods and markers.
Motion by Joe.
I'll second.
Second by Alex. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move forward to a vote. Joe, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Elvira votes yes.
Alex votes yes.
Alec, Catherine?
Yes.
Rob, the chair, votes yes, and Bill Jolly has indicated he's not voting this evening. That's 5 yes votes, and it is approved.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. And Meryl, I'll bring that Mylar by your office, I guess, or Meredith,
Awesome.
sorry. Yeah.
That sounds great. Thank you. And since, the decision was written once already, we should be able to turn these around pretty fast.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Okay, so we will go first to folks, okay, if we just review the minutes first so I don't forget, and then we go back up to the DRB rules discussion. The minutes for January 5th, 2026. Anyone have any changes?
Seem fine to me. Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Alex, a second by Catherine. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I'm abstaining from that because of I was not here. Minutes have been approved for January 5th. Okay. So, yeah, next order, last item on the agenda this evening. Meredith and I, sat down a little bit. Meredith had come up with a draft after the training that we had with the League of Cities and Towns. And there were some suggested changes to our rules of procedure to sort of make them more current and maybe spell things out a little better to avoid issues. And I don't know if folks had time to look at those, have any questions or comments or, areas for discussion. There was, I think, one particular area we wanted to discuss here that we're drafting, and I'm going to have to flip through and remember which which one that was, if you remember.
Well, there's a lot of the changes here have to do with the evidence discussion that we had in training, and that the rules of evidence don't apply. So these rules of procedure should make that clear and what does apply. And then in looking at the model rules that Kale from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns pointed us to, there were sections in there clarifying how meetings flow as well as how hearings flow that I thought might be helpful. So those are proposed in here, right? These are proposals. It doesn't have to happen. Not every section in here has to be in here. And then also the options for a board chair or vice chair, whoever's running the meeting when things get out of order. And I did run that draft back by Kale at the Vermont League of Cities and Towns and he had some finer point suggestions on where to put that and language that applied here for the board versus maybe other committees, say city council or something, because this being a quasi judicial and it's about people's property rights, you've got to be careful not to restrict people's ability to speak as much as maybe city council might, even though they're political and don't want to. They have a little more leeway in some ways actually than this board does to tell people they can or can't speak. So that's we have a section 5, which is order during meeting. We've added some things to order of business, including to, was that where we did it for the approval? No. Where did we have the items previously approved? Did we include that or did we not? Sorry. Maybe we took that out.
We took that out because it's, yeah.
Okay,
that out.
sorry, my bad.
But there's a whole
That was like the
section on general business.
Yep, and that was one of the things that got added.
Because-
Because if you have a place, a limited place with a limited time where people can talk about things that aren't on the agenda, then if they start talking about things that are off topic and not part of your purview, then you can direct them to next time to, we have a place for that, that's general business. If you're,
So
if-
this sort of couples with the increased focus on defining who an interested party is to be more rigorous on that side, but
except
then
you're not
go-
being more rigorous, you're
allow-
letting them know,
right.
right? Which is, goes to the relevancy aspect. Where if people are really zooming all over, right, you're gonna want to flag for them and say, hey, this isn't part of our jurisdiction.
Mhm.
You can't tell them they can't talk at all, but at that point, you can let everybody
give
know,
them
this is,
Determinative.
there's an alternative spot to talk about that.
Mm.
There's a place to direct you to other commissions. And also, we're not going to be including that in our decision. You have a microphone here if you want to talk about it, but it's not, we're not going to be, it doesn't go to any of the provisions. So, but it's also, you could talk about that in general business. But it would be a really limited space. There has been not as much in this board, though it happens occasionally. There have been more and more instances of people having more general issues and going way off topic. And so it's not going to come up that often, I don't think, but having that spot so that people decide or if they have an issue with a decision that the board made and they want, or a procedure that was followed and they want to be able to discuss that, they do have a little window in general business to be able to raise that and let you know about it so that then it can be, float up the chain, even if what you say is, well, it's part of the regs, so you have to talk to planning commission. But if it's part of your actual procedural documents, then yeah, that would be a place where they could flag that.
Make it
So-
easier to, if someone's talking off topic during an application to say, this is going to be your 5 minutes at the end of the meeting, versus saying you can't say that at all during this meeting. And if they came and wrote a bunch of notes and had something they really wanted to say, we had a limited space to go do that.
Yeah.
That's
So it's an option.
appropriate.
You don't have to
Yeah.
put that in, but you can if the board decides they want to, right? These all have to be adopted by a majority of the board.
I'm thinking back to some of the meetings we've had where the public has spoken, or interested parties have spoken around, but not directly on the matter in question.
Yeah.
Which was not unrelated, but not germane.
Sure.
Is this to deal with that? Because I thought those were handled appropriately.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not really so much those. It's like I said, it's pretty rare, but there have been people who have shown up. I'm thinking of some of the meetings we had when we were over at the rec center where there were some people really skewing off topic and really going to policy specifically that really didn't have anything to do with
Yep.
the item. And this is actually something I'm going to recommend for my design review committee too, because we had some of that same stuff for my design review committee. And even if it doesn't happen that often, if we have a place to send them versus saying, we can't hear that at all right now, just say, wait. And if it's, worth it for you to wait, there's a 10-minute block at the end. And however many people want to speak in that, we'll allocate the time. It's an option, not
Yeah.
necessary. And like Rob said, you don't have to make any decisions on this tonight, but I wanted to make sure once we had a draft that there was time to discuss at least a little bit.
Yeah. Meredith, can I make a comment before we move on from this one? The general business item?
Go ahead.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to me that we have an option within a meeting that's more general, and it also separates out items which can't be, kind of assessed or considered for an application decision. But the one thing, like a hesitation I have, and I'm just talking this through, I don't know if I've landed on an opinion on this, is if you add a general business to every meeting, is that implying that the board is asking people to come forward at every meeting with general input or general feedback on zoning in Montpelier? You know, because that's frankly, that's not really what my read is. That's not really the intention here. It's more a catch-all if things are coming in that don't fit anywhere else. So, yeah, I just, if people were to just want to come in with just general feedback, these meetings aren't really the right venue for that. I mean, people can't, hopefully, that makes sense. I'm a bit all over the place right now.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't direct somebody to you with that unless it really was specifically a critique of the rules of procedure, and they came to me and I said, well, the board would have to decide on amendments. I would say, I'll stick you in under other business, and it would actually be a listed item. I think this is really to capture people who have shown up at the meeting without any warning.
Mm.
I see what you're saying, and I don't know. I mean, we could always it could always be a general business under other business if needed.
Yeah.
Like 10-minute minimum, and that just shows on the agenda. I don't know. Because we can rephrase it. I don't know.
Well, there is an other business
Yes,
category,
there is an other business.
and it's not closed.
No,
You don't have to pre-register your
No.
other business.
no, I mean, sometimes we will pre-register other business. It's just not an application. But yeah, depends how you want to phrase it, because we don't have to. It can also just be a separate policy where you ask people to say you can talk about that in other business.
That's not like a stated policy, but it's something that we just kind of have the option if people are,
Yeah, instead of having it in your rules,
that might,
you could also
'cause
just
I don't see any way to actually stop people just saying whatever the hell they want to say.
right. I mean, we are not. If you, I'm trying to remember because I went through a few versions of this. The order. Where is my conduct? No, I think it was under order. Yeah, even though it's in here, right, in the order section, it does say that law enforcement can be requested to remove somebody.
Yeah.
We're not city council. We're not going to have a police officer in here at every meeting.
No.
Right?
Although
They're very close, right? But it would have to be where something was really escalating and somebody would have to like go and call them, because I don't think that there might be a buzzer under one of those desks. I need to remind. Yeah. No. I think it might be under the central desk where Alex is sitting. So there is an opportunity.
Okay?
Don't touch anything. I'll have to revisit it.
It was
So,
a bank robbery.
but
it's a
that's
rental.
things don't get there for here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it's such a difficult
I guess
thing. So you're right. We don't really have a way to just tell people to stop talking.
But
We can
Catherine's
ask.
point is also well taken, that
Yeah.
zoning can become a very hot button issue.
Yeah.
And we can't do anything except
Follow the rules.
follow the rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it could be addressed in the order section. You have point G, speakers must refrain from repetitious speech or speech that is irrelevant to the business of the board. To say that, speech that is deemed irrelevant to a case at hand may be deferred to other business,
Right.
which is actually a more pleasant way of
Yeah.
framing it.
I think that makes
Um,
sense.
I'm sorry, that was great. I'm gonna have to go to the recording.
But basically, this
Yeah.
speech that's deemed irrelevant to a given matter may be deferred to
Yeah.
the other business section of the meeting.
Yeah.
the chair may defer.
At the
Right. So it's like stuff that's tangential to the, topics of hand, and it gets there by a decision of, the board versus like opening it up to
It's clear that
public
it's a-
comment
it's a
for.
tool that's available, but it's
Yeah.
clear also, should the public read these rules, that it's a tool that could be used.
Yes.
No, I think that's great. And then we just get rid of the
Yep.
whole general business
Yep,
section.
it's not an invitation.
Yeah,
I
think it-
like that.
Excellent.
This ca-
Like that's it.
Ah.
I think it should be the prerogative of the chair to vote for that.
Yeah.
And that way you can kind of cut people off. Or
Any-
if they feel
And
like they're
that's-
being cut off, then they're just-
That's
you can-
already underscored here, that the chair does have the
Mhm.
right to interrupt another who is
Right.
speaking.
But it's a matter also of this group being able to keep its focus on the matter at hand
Yeah.
and not to be sidelined.
Oh, I like that.
Can I ask a vocabulary question? Since in section 5, it talks about order during meetings, but otherwise it's talking about hearings. What is the difference between a meeting and a hearing?
So
Is one contained within the other?
yes,
So
So-
a hearing is a subset of a.
each
meeting?
application has its own hearing, right? So witnesses are sworn in at the beginning of each hearing on an application. A meeting is one night. A hearing might be spread out over multiple nights and you just continue it. So the hearing is continued to our next meeting. So there's order of the meeting, which is section 5, which is about basically keeping order.
Order. Okay.
And then there is the order of business within a meeting. So that's section 4E.
That's usually alarms.
Yep.
And then there's separately the conduct of hearing or review of applications. So that's the schedule of hearing or review of applications. And we're trying to not use order there again. That's why we took out, because we did have in here before, order of hearing, order of meeting, like it got even more confusing. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Nope, I hear you.
Oh, I see what you did there.
I've been doing it for a while, so.
This might be overreaching a little bit, but is there any way to maybe add to the oath that not only is everything you're gonna say the truth, but also that you have read this?
So,
Not speak,
yeah,
confirm that you have read this.
yeah, so, I don't think we can do that. What we're gonna start doing is, so city council brings a binder that is the meeting binder to every meeting that has not just the information that is being reviewed during that meeting, but also has their like rules of procedure, all of that stuff in it. As much as it pains me for the paper, we don't have it yet, but we're gonna start having, because I need to get the binder. We're gonna have a meeting binder, and it's gonna contain all of the zoning regulations, all the river hazard regulations, my design review guidelines, rules of procedure for the board, for my design review committee, the ethics policies. It's all gonna be there and be here in this room. And we may also try and do it more prominent, put the rules of procedure, like if you're gonna attend a meeting, read X and Y.
But there are people that you notify, interested parties that you notify, the abutters, for example.
Mhm.
Is there some way that, and that's by mail? An abbreviated version with a link perhaps to,
I mean, we already, in that mailing, we already have some, make sure you check the like X and Y, so we can adjust that to say, and if you need copies, contact our office. So we could definitely do that.
because there's nothing in these rules of procedure that invites reading.
Oh,
I mean, so, much as you might want to make people read it.
yeah, most people don't go around and read the rules of procedure for every single committee that they're gonna be
Right.
attending.
Right.
Um,
But if there could be like a one sentence sort of summary or executive summary, right? Of
Well, we might also be able to do a more user layman's friendly version of this. I mean, this is our zoning assistant, Nick Gothier, has been doing so much work at trying to make information more accessible. And you know, I've been like, yes, keep every like permit thing with me if you can make this stuff actually like people friendly. So that's really been a lot of his focus. So we're working on those things. So, but that's a good one to have more of a shorthand version that says, hey, look at the rules of procedure, but here's the shorthand, here's the basics.
Right. Here's what to expect.
Yeah.
You know, here's where you'll be able to speak, here's what you might come up against. So that there aren't surprises.
Yeah, and we might not need to, you know, reinvent the wheel either.
Right.
Like we've been looking at, there's some, not so much of this, but I can look at their pages too. So the zoning administrator who was in this position before me has moved on to Stowe and is now the planning and zoning director in Stowe. And over the last few years, they have done a whole bunch of really great applicant friendly stuff on their website, including checklists of, is this your type of project? Here's your checklist. Is this your type of
Yep,
project?
yep,
Here's your
yep,
checklist.
yep.
And we're actually looking at those going, we need those. So this might be, they might have a similar thing that we can take a look at for a model. But I'll think about that too as especially the DRB meeting, DRB process, hearing process, hearing/meeting process primer for interested parties and applicants. Sort of a how to supplement to the rules. That's a great idea. I like it.
Well, I think this was been productive. I don't feel the need to rush voting on these changes tonight. I think sit with it, let us review it again, and you know, I think at the next meeting we could be prepared to vote on a final marked up copy.
The only reason I would say to rush it is I don't know what the applications look like for the next meeting, but if there's gonna be a lawyer there, I'd like to have the
So
evidence
here's the thing.
passed.
I don't have any applications for March 2nd. So you could theoretically have a meeting just on these, just to adopt a revision on March 2nd, and that would be it. I don't actually have any applications for March 16th yet either, but I haven't hit that deadline yet. And I have no idea what that's going to be. I have, you know, there's bunches of things bubbling away, but I never know what's going to come in. So, it's kind of up to the board members who are here now if you want to meet on the 2nd and just have it be on the rules of procedure, which
To
is
me, that
perfectly
seems
fine.
really wise, considering that spring is somewhere out there. Oh, I'm so sorry. But spring is somewhere out there. I'm sure things will become more lively,
Yeah.
one assumes. And I think you're really smart to speed it along against the possibility of additional representative involvement.
Make a extended deliberative session between now and the next meeting so that we can all revise and comment on the draft.
Yep. So since we got that lovely, I mean, this isn't an application.
Right.
I don't know if you can do a deliberate. So what I can do is I can revise a draft. I can send it around to everybody. If you send me your comments or corrections individually, I can then merge things where needed.
Except that part of what was really useful here was the brainstorm.
Yep, but I mean,
So,
it's
because it's a rule, it's not an application, you can't.
I don't know as you can
We can't
create a
rule it out.
deliberative session. I mean, it's still public meeting. I don't think you can create a deliberative session for something that's not an application. Hold on.
Let's
But
err on the side
it's business of the board. Hold on.
You create a deliberative session on any motion?
I don't know. Oh my God. how can there be so many like new things after I've been doing this for so long?
Stop.
Shall make its decisions by public deliberation. That's decisions in
People do.
referrals and that's referrals and evaluation requests, right?
Or me.
Or is my, nope, that's 7. My pages are out of whack.
Or worse. Some people really do be.
3, 5, 6. Deliberate session, each order.
Like,
Huh, I think my lettering got screwy.
I was gonna say that when we get a final thing to make a decision on, could we have one red line and one?
Yes, 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 yes. You can. I think for some reason I have a weird letter there for the order version. Supposed to be B.
I do think if we were all commenting on a shared doc, not that it would happen, it could get pretty difficult to like even tell, you know, different color red lines for each of our comments, like,
Yeah, yeah.
I just think it really does.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's a pain. But I can circulate another revision and try and do
Yeah.
that sooner rather than later. Because I mean, there haven't been that many changes discussed tonight. And circulate both a clean, here's the clean of what we're proposing and the red line. And just get any additional comments. I mean, we don't have anything from Kevin or Brian yet. And so they might have thoughts. I mean, Kevin has done legislative work for so long, he might have some thoughts. And then, you know, we can hash out additional particulars at the next meeting. If for some reason there's still more to do, we,
Yeah,
wait one more meeting.
makes sense to have the next meeting and
Okay.
could just take it up then and put the clean draft around.
Yeah.
I
100%.
think this is a very good draft. I mean,
Yeah.
but it hews very closely to the suggestions that I think were well received at the training.
I did, just so you know, and I grabbed this from the model rules of procedure, decisions made by the DRB. The chair has the same voting rights as all members and can make motions. And then it does say all members present are expected to vote unless they have recused themselves. So there's recusal, there's abstentions, there are some options, but it's, you know, and we've tied in the 2 ethics policies that apply. I tried to highlight a few things in the rules of procedure, but it's really going to be understanding what the state ethics requirement is, and then any supplements that come in from the local. And so we can also, you know, discuss a little bit of that next time. That Montpelier's ethics policy does need some updates, but there is some language in there that goes above what the state one is. So the city one has some additional items that apply. So, but we're gonna start making sure we have copies of everything in the meetings, in case you need to refer anybody to it.
Yeah, I think one other change that we did make was to the attendance section. And I think the biggest change is just basically to spell out, like, you know, an excused absence is like, we all, you know, 24 hours beforehand, you can't make it because you have COVID or like whatever. Like that's not, you know, really part of the rest of this section here, which 3 consecutive meetings missed, or, you know, only is that, you know, what, missing 6 consecutive meetings or is absent 40%, you know, like these are all like, you know, criteria to like remove somebody from the board. So the intent here was just to basically, you know, talk about, you know, as long as you give us 24 hours notice that you're not going to be there, it's not really
So wait,
as relevant.
but then
Where possible, like
it says a board member misses 3, so is that 3 unexcused absences?
it is kind of 3 consecutive, like we had to have something in here for that this just flows down and has been in the regs and been in the rules and flows down from others for a long time, because sometimes there will be members who just don't show repeatedly. And that the board's like, well, it's basically like having a vacant seat. And so what happens is the board doesn't actually make the decision. They have to petition city council. But we put in the clarifying language at the top to be sort of like, look, we know stuff happens. And even with that 24 hours, it's like, do your best. You know, people have kids, people have families, there's weather, stuff happens. It kind of softens it a little bit to put in that clarifier to understand that it's not going to be any, 3 consecutive absences.
Well, and even without the unexcused or excused absence language, it still indicates that it would be at the request of a majority of the board. So
Right.
it's not an automatic
Right.
dismissal.
Yep, it's not.
I have a question about alternates.
Mhm.
So Bill may still be at the meeting. I don't know if you are,
Yep.
Bill.
Still,
This isn't about you, Bill, but it's about your situation, in relation. So you said you were here as an alternate, but you weren't gonna you were gonna be a witness, but you weren't gonna participate
Yeah.
in the meeting. But presumably Bill would also have been able to sub in.
yes. Yep, exactly. So this was Bill's option. So what typically when we've had these, if somebody, if there's only 6 voting members present and an alternate is also available, they participate. They take part, they are in the discussion, they vote. Because you can have up to 7 voting members. If you end up with extras,
Then you can't.
well, you can't vote, but the
Right.
alternates can still be part of the discussion. They just can't vote.
But if we had only had 3 people,
We
would
would
Bill have had to
he
participate?
would have had to participate for the meeting to even occur. You have to have a majority of,
A qu-
4, you have to have a quorum, you have to have 4 participating and able to vote members for both the meeting to happen and for each individual hearing involved. So if you have 5 members present, great, you can have your meeting. But if 2 of them have to recuse themselves from a particular application, the hearing on that particular application cannot go forward unless you have an alternate available to step in to be number 4 vote. And that's one reason it's so important to have alternates, and sometimes have alternates come even if they don't know if they're needed for sure for a quorum or something, because if there's a vote and suddenly somebody's like, oh wait, I just remembered X, or I just got notified of something from my spouse, then you might have to suddenly recuse yourself. Or if somebody in the audience is saying, hey, I know this thing, and the applicant believes it's a conflict, if you have those alternates available, even if you're like, I don't think it's a conflict, but I'm going to step out so that it's a clean decision, then it's why it's so important for the DRB especially to have alternates available.
But as Bill's choice tonight makes clear, it's at the discretion, unless it's a quorum issue, it's at the discretion of the alternate? Or is the norm that,
Can be, the normal would be to at least participate. Not meaning to call you out, Bill, just that is the norm, is that if you're, if the alternate's at the meeting, they participate even if they can't vote. Because I mean, it's why they've been appointed, is to be able to discuss these matters, that their opinions are considered to be useful, right? It's a panel of peers.
This meeting.
Well, I might
No,
as
this
well.
meeting, there definitely wasn't much need, but
No, I might as well chime in then. Good enough.
we
These
know you're
two
not
seem-
shy.
Yeah, these 2 cases, meetings, whatever, they seem pretty straightforward. I mean, and you guys, I mean, it was a quick one, both of
Yeah.
these. I didn't feel like I could contribute much of anything, and then it just interfered. And so I just kept my mouth shut and listened, because these were is about as simple as it looks like it gets, Meredith. And so I didn't have much point in that, but the interest was certainly in the changes to the DRB rules, and I'm anxious to see. I haven't seen the revisions yet. There's been a discussion about it, but I'm looking forward to that. I'll certainly participate in that and certainly give you my 2 cents. But the other reason for me coming in and just kind of listening is that what I'm seeing is that these things reappear quite often, at least the ones I've been to, they have been reappearing. The history seems to come back up on some of these meetings. They aren't, it's over and done in one meeting, it seems like. So I feel it's important that I'm listening, observing, hearing who's saying what, why they're saying it, what the applicants or the interested parties are saying. So when it does come back up, and it sounds like one of these probably will, because there was a person that was in on this conversation who said she wasn't going to go under oath. Well, I imagine that's going to come up. Well, I see your face. You're on camera. You're on
Yeah,
camera.
I know
You're
I'm
on camera.
I got
I
the
forget
bad
her
face.
name. I forget her name, but she said, "Do you want to be
Alex.
under oath?" And she said, "No, I do not."
Yeah.
But we'll look her address up, and my guess is she's pretty close. So my guess is that's coming up. If you guys approve this, that's my guess. So it's good that, so back to what the reason was, that I think it's good for me to hear the history on this, because even though these were extremely straightforward, putting the pieces together wasn't exactly clear. And so I think it's helpful for me to listen in. But as far as chiming in, certainly we'll do that. But it seemed like this one, I don't think I could have added much to. These are pretty obvious decisions on this one. Nothing's changed. So what's the decision? So I just let it ride and listen. But it's good to be the alternate. And if Meredith had emailed me before, love me to come in, I'll be glad to. I see, was it Brian or Kevin or somebody bailed out at the last minute. I've got an email late this afternoon where he's bailing out. And I was surprised that I didn't get to say, Bill, would you please come in and do it? Well, there was enough. Fortunately, there was a quorum and I didn't need to. But had there not been the four, certainly this one would have been an active participant to this meeting. But there was a quorum, everything was fine. So I just kind of listened in. So yeah, that's the long answer to it. But I'm always glad to be there as an alternate. And if the future holds to be a permanent board member, well, that would be great too. So looking forward to the next one that may be sometime in March, it looks like. So I'm open for questions. If anybody has anything they'd like to discuss, we can do it over a glass of wine or a beer or maybe something else, or open business. No, other business. That would be good. Let's do it under open business. I got it. All right. All right. I wasn't completely, deaf on all your discussions. So hearing what's going on.
Thank you for your input, Bill. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Bill, I'll
Oh.
say I was particularly happy you're here tonight because I'm remote because my husband's out of town and my kids were putting themselves to bed and there was a scream at one point. So I thought there might have been an injury. So anyway, had there been an injury, I definitely would have had to tap out of the meeting.
Well, then feel free to call on me. I'll be right there, and even at the last minute. All right, guys, enjoyed it. And Alex,
Thanks, Bill.
you take care. Joe, I mean, everybody who's there. I can't see everybody. Rob, et cetera, et cetera. All right, we'll see you guys for the next time. Take care. Be safe, and hope for spring sometime in the future. Hey, it was 40 degrees today, wasn't it, or something like that? I forget. So,
Warm.
all right, Meredith.
Yeah.
See you later.
Alrighty. So yeah,
on,
we'll
guys.
meet on the 2nd to discuss the rules, and yeah, anyone has any ideas as far as how to refine these, just let Meredith know, and we'll take it up at that meeting.
Nope, that sounds good. I will feel free to send other thoughts if you have them before I send around a new draft, but I will update the draft per the specific comments we discussed tonight, and send around both a clean and a red line I'll try and just do that tomorrow. I mean, it's quick and easy, so I may do that tomorrow. And then I will keep everybody posted on if I get applications for the 16th. If I don't have any, then we'll be able to decide on the 2nd if for some reason you want to meet. But I'm going to assume that if there's no new applications, chances are we will not be meeting on the 16th because we're hoping to deal with these rules on the 2nd.
Okay.
So, I think the deadline is actually, it might be next Friday. It's either this Friday or next Friday for the 16th. It's that with February being a short month, it's a pretty short window.
And Meredith and Rob, I'm out of town on the 2nd. It's the school break here, so we're going somewhere, but I'll get you comments in writing or no comments. I thought you did a really great job for a first pass, but I'll read it more closely, and it was helpful to have this discussion today too in advance of that.
Thank you for the heads up.
Wonderful. All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Hey.
Meeting is adjourned.